afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to the January 2022, that's weird to say, board meeting. I want to thank you all for being here. Today, you'll notice that some of us have been looking at some of the things that we've gotten from schools. It is School Board Appreciation Month, and some of our schools did pictures and different things up here, and we just want to thank all of you. I think each of the schools and the administrators that, whether it be these or the letters or the coffees or the drinks, we just want to thank you for your time and for just recognizing us when it's, in reality, it's you that are doing all of the hard work. We would like to call Adrian up to do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you just want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your time in Springdale.
My name is Adrian Alcantara. I'm a senior at John Tyson School of Innovation. Currently taking the ESSER faculty college classes. I applied to the U of A. I want to major in mechanical engineering and then transfer somewhere along the road to aerospace engineering. Over the summer, I did a program called Business School. I really enjoyed it. I had an astrophysics professor, and that's really got my interest for aerospace engineering. And now that is what I want to do for my career.
I see you have a lot of AP classes. Do you have a favorite?
I think it's AP Spanish way. I really like learning about other cultures, and especially being the new kids not really occurred here. But listening to other people talk about their cultural aspects, looking at how Salvadorian, Puerto Rican student, and just connecting with my own. And the differences in the dialects that we speak, even though Spanish is different, little small changes. Very cool.
Lord, do you have any questions?
Do you have a place in mind for the aerospace studies?
Yeah, I'm thinking kind of like the Austin or Texas A&M.
So you'd get a degree at the U of A first and then transfer, or would it be some?
I would like to take my basic studies, just to do like the math and stuff, the college basics, and then that.
Okay.
I only had one question, you answered it. When it said you had experience with an astrophysicist, I was like, where did that happen? So, but you answered it at governor's.
What?
So, was he like a mentor, or what was, or she, he or she?
College professor from, I think, UCA, and he became the chief of the mathematics department at
Can you tell us about what schools you've gone to and about your experience at John Tyson?
I started, I went to pre-K in that school back there, and then I was at Monitor Elementary, I went to Junior Time, after the lesson, for 5 years. Went to Health Institute, I went to Central Junior High School 1, and then went to John Tyson School of Innovation. I like it there, maybe because like the open spaces. You think it'd be different, you think it'd be distracting, but honestly, it's just really friendly, I don't know. I think it's a more friendly environment to deal with people, and yeah, everyone in their own space, in their own life.
So when you graduate from SOI, are you going to have some college credit? You got an associate's degree?
I didn't know the associate's degree. I didn't, because I transferred in a little later than most people do. So I've taken several college classes, AP classes, so I will get those credits.
Awesome. Very good.
If there aren't any more questions, do you have a parent here tonight? Okay. Well, we want to thank you for coming, and we hope that you will come back after you start doing your aerospace and let us know how you're doing and how that's going.
You did great.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, you have the agenda, Board and Dr. Cleveland, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No, ma'am, just one thing, Ms. Jennifer Tucker invited her to come in March. She's not able to be here. I know it's on the consent agenda.
Okay.
The after-school program has really done well for us, and we just wanted to recognize them in a formal way.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented with the one change.
I have a motion by Mrs. Krieg. A second by Mr. Bell to approve the agenda as corrected. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Board, you've also had the consent agenda. Any questions or anything that you would like to pull out of the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson. A second by Mr. Emerson to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Dr. Cleveland?
Yes, ma'am. I'm excited to do this. Mr. Donnell, we have some royalty in the house with us tonight this year, so.
I want to ask Mr. Showalter to come up here with me.
Tonight, I have the distinct honor of introducing, recognizing Mr. Alan Showalter as the Region 5 Choral Director of the Year. Region 5 Choral Director of the Year. And I'd like to read this. It says, Mr. Showalter is the head choral director at Southwest Junior High School, a position that he has held for the last 16 years. That's amazing. Prior to this, Mr. Showalter was the head choral director at Pulaski Academy in Little Rock. Mr. Showalter earned his bachelor's degrees, not degree, but degrees, in music education and music performance from the University of Central Arkansas, where he studied under John Irwin, which is Randy's brother, and Wolfgang Este. Mr. Showalter has served as a clinician throughout Arkansas and Missouri and has consistently earned superior ratings for his 4 choirs at Southwest. During his career, Mr. Showalter has been named Region 5's choral director not once, not twice, but 4 times, including this time right here. So it's pretty amazing. In addition, Mr. Showalter was awarded Teacher of the Year in 2013 at Southwest Junior High. His choirs have performed at the Arkansas All-State Music Conference, the USS Missouri Battleship, St. Mark's Basilica in Venice, and the National Conference of the American Choral Directors Association in Kansas City. I would like for us to give Mr. Showalter a round of applause for this very distinguished honor that he received.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to thank the school board and Dr. Cleveland and the administration. I'd also like to thank my team of teachers. I mean, honestly, there's no way I could do my job without all of those teachers that helped me out. Ed Gay, Emily Walters, Denise Parkhurst, Evan Willis at Helen Tyson, and of course Clint Penalto and Michael Brown up at HAR-BER. I'm honored to be one of the feeder schools for HAR-BER High School and their amazing program. I don't know if you got to see their candlelight nights or anything else that they've been able to perform, but it's amazing. It's on a level that, you know, almost nobody else around the region can even touch. So it's just an honor to be a part of that. And I also want to thank Ms. Lindley and the counselors at Southwest and the other schools for making the master schedules all gel so that we can be a part of those other programs. And I can travel to Helen Tyson, I can travel to HAR-BER and see those kids go from 7th to 12th grade. It just really does my heart some good to see those kids, those former students.
Any questions? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great job. Ms. Cook, as you know, you kind of stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I thought about that after, but we were all
No, that's
talking
right.
about.
It is School Board Recognition Month, and it really ought to be School Board Recognition Year this year because of all the difficulties you all have had to endure, not just in Springdale, but across the state, across the country. I would like to recognize 2 programs that built some things for you tonight. Greg Simpson over at HAR-BER, he and his team in construction, they did the wooden I don't know what you call those, wooden biscuits maybe or something. I wouldn't call them cutting boards or anything, but they're really cool.
They are cool.
CNC machines, I think that's unique. Yeah. I think shows the time and energy and effort and appreciation that they have as representative for the district for your time. And Mr. Chad Burkett, all of you know Chad over at Springdale High. He runs the ag program, and they created some really neat, I don't know if you call those placards or what, but mine, they made me one too, and I want to put mine at my shop and at my farm. So I'd like to recognize those gentlemen and their teams for doing that. The governor also recognized you, and I know you all were at the ASBA conference where he appreciated you and made his remarks, but he also provided a resolution, an accommodation for you all. That's special. That's an important thing. So what you do is unpaid. You get nothing out of it sometimes except for a hard time. And you do it as a service, and you do it as really a service to kids in your district. What I do understand, and I mentioned to Ms. Cook this morning, is you are representing your kids, your school district, and you have the fiduciary responsibility to make sure dollars, you do that very well. So I just wanted to recognize you and to thank you, and I know our community recognizes you and wants to thank you too. So if you would, in the room, if you wouldn't mind, let's recognize them for their hard work and dedication to this district. Thank you. Ms. Trace?
Oops, my glasses came off with my mask here. I just have to echo what Dr. Cleveland said. We're so appreciative of you and the support that you give us each and every day. Okay, now that I can see you, Board, the first item that I have for you this evening is I just wanted to kind of show you after the first semester where we stood with our ESSER dollars. As you know, between the three pots of money, it's around $62 million. And so after the first semester, we are now, we've spent approximately $16 million. So we are not quite halfway there, but that's good because we still have some time to spend it. We still have plans to spend it. The only expenditure requirement, just to remind you, is we have to spend at least 20% of the third pot of money, the $40 million, which would equate to $8 million, on learning loss. I have no doubt in my mind we're going to spend that and exceed that toward learning loss. As y'all all know, we have hired instructional specialists to work with students at each of our schools over the next 3 years to help with students that are due to the pandemic, maybe below grade level or struggling. So those funds will definitely be expended, plus some. So anyway, this is just for your information, just kind of an update. We'll continue to monitor this. We will be putting in some improving air quality. We will be doing some HVAC, some things like that. So be looking for those things. But do you have any questions? It was just this kind of a, here's where we are right now kind of a thing. I'll try to do it at the end of each semester. Does that sound good? Okay. All right, let me move on. The second item that I have for you this evening, we have 3 employees that we need to disclose as related parties. The first one is Miss Agula, and she is a secretary at George Elementary. She does flower arrangements, decorations, T-shirts, things of that nature on as a business on her own. And so in the event that we want to do business with her, we need to disclose that in a public meeting, that relationship. The next one is Miss Celeste Creamer. She is a teacher at, I forget if she's at Southwest or Central. Central, thank you. And she is a seamstress, and so she hems choir dresses for us from time to time and does it at an affordable price, better than what we can get most places. So we want the opportunity to be able to do that if the opportunity presents itself. And then finally, need to disclose Stephen Lightfoot. Mr. Lightfoot is an employee of the district, and he and his wife own the skating rink in town. And so we disclose that relationship in the event that we want to go skating. So I want to present those 3 and would ask that the board pass a resolution authorizing us to do business with these three individuals in the event that it's in the best interest of the district to do so.
They'll be three, be done together.
They can.
Or do I have a motion?
I'll move to accept the three resolutions to do business with three individuals.
I have a motion by Mr. Bell, a second by Mr. Owenby to accept to approve the related party resolutions. All those in favor? Opposed? Motions pass.
And just as a reminder, these do not require board approval unless they are to go over 10,000 in a year. I don't anticipate any of those. They never have gotten even close, so I think we're fine there. The next item that I have for you this evening are the financials for the month of December. I didn't put any notes in this month because there's really not a whole lot to tell. There's nothing unusual. We're in good shape on our revenue side. We're right in line with where we were this time last year, so I feel really good about that. And on the expenditure side, once again, right there in the money where we were traditionally during this time. So everything's looking good. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them, but I'm very pleased.
Kelly, are tax collections, were they?
Well, and that's, yes. The problem is you just never know, how, there's, ever since that snafu a couple of years ago when the tax bills came out late and that kind of messed us up, that makes me a little nervous, but I think that we have crossed that bridge, and I don't anticipate that happening again. I will definitely be calling the collector and visiting with them about it as it gets closer to time for those bills to go out.
I assume as the values and stuff continues to go up,
Yes.
that help us, correct?
That's correct, yeah. In fact, I was visiting with the assessor the other day. I think that our next reappraisal is 2023. Is that what I put? Yes, 2023. Benton County just went through a reappraisal. Both Benton County and Washington County had been pushed back to a 5-year cycle because we had had a drop in our assessments. And I think, don't hold me to this, but I think if you have more than a 10% increase district-wide, that flips you back to the 3-year cycle. And for the last, when was that? 10 years plus, we have not had that. But we're seeing that happening now. The last several years, I think our increase has been 8 to 9%. So with the reappraisal, I think that we will definitely go over the 10%, which in Benton County, it triggered a rollback. And so the schools actually had their millage roll back just a little bit because there's a cap to how much a district can gain from a reappraisal. And so in order to cap it, they have to roll back your mills slightly. So we're going to be looking at that very closely. It wouldn't surprise me if Washington County sees the same thing in a couple of years. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Dr. Cleveland?
Great job.
Okay. Yeah, great question. Any other questions for me?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial statements for December 2021.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Emerson, a second by Mr. Hutchinson to approve the financials as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I would like to ask Dr. Charles Stein to come up. Dr. Stein is the consultant that we use for our facilities. As part of our master plan with our facilities, we have to have a public meeting that kind of shares what's on our master plan, and Dr. Stein is here to help us with that.
Thanks very much. Yeah, and so some slides again. And so as you know, you got several meetings. The master plan, of course, runs on 2-year cycles. And the plan is nearly due next month in February. And so the plan is really the opportunity of seeing the needs really in your schools and the opportunities in strategy. So needs in Springdale, of course, it's a large school district, and so we're always seeing the opportunities of needing additional space, of course, in your school district. You may need space as more students show up. Plus, in Springdale, some of your schools now, buildings now are reaching the age, and so you need assessing for repairing them or putting in new schools. So the application also of 2 years of state funds, of course, runs on the same 2-year cycle, and the opportunity of the applications is March 1st. The Springdale's share is nearly 60%. It's sort of a misleading number, though, because the state is limiting to $200 per square foot. So your share is really a little larger. So here's the actual list of major Springdale projects now. So these were all based on prior cycles, and so you see the actual amount of money that Springdale has scored, really, I guess, is a word, very well as far as funding. So your first two there in Southwest and Central, it's really essentially new schools nearly. There's, and so you see the others in high schools. So the status of all of it really is we have started the plans and specifications. Some of the actual schedule and timeline in the next year or two or so of all these wrapped up and finished.
Do we have for the first, for the top three, do we have a date on each phase, or just a completion that they have to be done, or just the completion phase?
That's a great question. There is a phase one timeline, and I believe we have to have, our phase $1 spent by April of 23?
Yes. So we actually submitted again using 2-year cycles. We turned in partial additions and renovations, and so we had the idea we actually need a total renovation. So it's still just one big school, but time-wise, there is money utilization.
The state have restrictive rules.
And the phase one timeline is the same for all three?
Yes, ma'am. The phase ones we applied for, 5 years ago, almost. It's been granted 2 years ago, and so the clock's ticking. And then this last May, we were approved for phase twos, and that's how we've gotten started. And then with your bond restructuring, that's how we're able to do this, not increase millage and all that. But it's by maximizing state dollars.
With the last legislative session, did they talk about a funding mechanism that we've always had in place where we get a certain matching amount? I know that's always been a worry as to if they're going to decide to change that formula and all that stuff.
Well, through adequacy, they did put in some additional dollars. You may have that exact. Dr. Stein's at each of those meetings.
Oh, okay.
He represents us really well.
So really, the process switched in the rules of how the project, the submissions are all scored and ranked.
Okay.
All scored and ranked. So a process of these were some prior rules. So here's an actual new cycle here using a set of newer rules. So again, mentioned some schools there needing renovation replacement. So several schools, we already turned in the applications for those. So 2 of those, the state said yes on, and Westwood was still in the process of still working, I guess, with the state. And so again, as far as cycles, we wouldn't even learn of any money on those until a year away or maybe even 2 years away. As far as learning of the money, and so again, you have several years of using that. And you really need, of course, as we're doing here, to plan in several years ahead.
As far as the application, whether they're approved or not, you can decide whether, let's say they say yes. Well, just as you have history with, you can decide whether you want to do the project then and how you're going to fund it. And if they say no, we just continue. For example, if you take Jones Elementary School, we've taken Southwest and Central and basically rebuilt them on the same site. That's what we're doing. The same philosophy would be used for those 3 schools, Jones, Westwood, and Elmdale. So you take the same site and basically rebuild on the same site and take away the suitability, or increase the suitability, take away the old facilities that are outdated or life cycles are over. So that's what we're asking for. And again, if you don't ask, certainly don't participate. So that was our thing.
So it's a process. If you ask, you get it on the list, then you get approved or not approved for the list that you turned in to be approved, and then we make a decision whether we enact what was asked to do. Right. So it's perpetual. Every year you're updating as we drop off. And I'm
So-
not repeating that, but that's.
No.
But just because it's on the ask list doesn't mean that you all decide to do those projects.
That's right. So that's your plan. Please add the sign in there, so please sign up if you haven't. So y'all have any comments or questions?
Let me make sure I understood that right. Any of you in the room, we have to have, as far as our application process, your signature that you were here and that we actually had a meeting. So if you haven't signed in, would you mind to do that for us so we have that to send into the state this evening? That's.
Does that
Do we
include
need to
us?
sign in too?
Do we need to sign in also?
If you, yes,
Okay.
that would be great.
I didn't sign.
The only other thing I wanted to add, Board, is, as Dr. Stein alluded to, the amount of participation per square foot is limited at $200. We are seeing, as everyone is, the price of construction exceeding that. It's been that way for a while, but it's getting higher. And Dr. Stein is working as an advocate for us to look at that, to make it more realistic what the cost is.
On the square foot cost. So it's 58.4%, and then not to exceed $200 a square foot.
That's right.
And construction costs could be 300
Oh, yeah.
plus.
Oh, yeah.
So do we have to take, does the board have to take action on this plan?
No.
Just a requirement to review it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's out. It's outside.
As Ms. Clay's coming to the podium, we've experienced some staffing shortages today. COVID-related issues in regard to the number of staff that we have, especially at Jones Elementary School. We got a press release earlier stating that due to staffing shortages, Jones will need to be on AMI for the remainder of the week. We have roughly 50% of our staff that will be out tomorrow. And, if we had substitutes, we would still keep going. But we'll take the staff that are at Jones that aren't impacted, but don't have kids directly tied to them, and they'll go work at Parson Hills tomorrow, because Parson Hills is the second school with the most staff out tomorrow. So anyway.
So like cafeteria workers and whatever like that?
Yeah, it may not be cafeteria workers because they are going to offer drive-through pickup service for food, but instructional assistants would be an easy example. Yeah.
Specialty staff, music art.
Okay, as you may have heard, we're experiencing a surge here in Arkansas, across the nation. I've included the standard information that you've grown accustomed to seeing. These numbers are accurate in that they reflect the data from your last board meeting till today. I will say, though, most of the positive cases come from since we've been back in school. So since we've been back in school from the break, there have been 107 staff positives, 212 student positives, and 199 PCCs. So that last week in December, after your board meeting, we didn't see a lot of positive cases. Test to stay participation is going strong. Now looking back, test to stay has been a really good thing for our district. You'll see that since your last board meeting, we've had 255 participants. That's both students and staff, and 33 of those have tested positive, so 12.9%. I typically report on positive PCCs. I'll just be real honest, we don't know right now. There's too much overlap, there's too much, there's just too much out there to be able to report on that. Hopefully, as we start to come down, if that's still a useful number, we'll go back and review it. I do want to let you know that our staff, our nursing staff, our building staff that makes the phone calls to parents and staff members that are affected are working as hard as they can. They are behind. Just today, we had approximately 500 people that needed a phone call, whether that was through a positive case or an exposure. So they're working through those as quickly as they can and are working very hard pretty much around the clock to be able to notify people when they can come back. We've updated this spreadsheet as of Friday. One index that you may have seen in the news today is the ACI index. So that 54 is as of, I believe it was the 3rd or the 4th. They updated it today. We are now in the purple along with most of the school districts in the state, and our index is 158. So it's reflecting the community spread, and that's what the ACI index is, community spread, not specific to our school district, but obviously our school district is a reflection of the community. We'll continue updating this as best as we can as we go through this. And finally, you may have heard last week, we got an update to the isolation and quarantine guidelines. The basic premise is instead of a 7 to 10 day isolation or quarantine, they shortened it to 5 days. They are asking that people not be symptomatic when they come back, and that if you've been positive, your symptoms are improving. This has helped us bring back staff members. It was welcome news last week, and that we were able to even call some back on Friday that would have stayed out. We are seeing some that are sick and are not able to come back after 5 days. So the shortened time is not necessarily a given for everybody, but it is helping a lot of people be able to come back sooner. Do you have any questions? Okay, thanks.
Just one thing, our efforts to staff safely is important. And I know your goal is to have enough substitutes to cover. And our goal is to have every school open every day, every day. I know you believe, just like our staff believes, that the best place for kids to be during school time is in school. And we're working hard to do that. And so I feel badly about Jones having to go to AMI, but I'm thankful that we have the AMI opportunity, and we're not using that lightly. So as a plea to the community, if there are any of you that are interested in substituting, we would be overjoyed if you would be interested in doing that. You know, you're great people and love our kids because some of them are yours. And so if you have the opportunity to be a substitute, we'd love it.
Or a bus driver.
Or a bus driver. Yes, that goes without saying too. We're experiencing struggles in transportation as well. Those have not improved. They get better a little bit, and then we take a step back or two. So if you're interested, we certainly could use the help, and we're just trying to have school. So thank you.
I think calm, cool, collected, and flexible.
Steady.
Is the way we gotta be. This, it's gonna be rough next couple of weeks.
The really good thing that's been reported to me, Mr. Allenby, is that of the people who are positive, I'm hearing reports that it's not severe. It's not life-threatening. Most of the positives, they don't feel well, obviously. But it can range from, I have no symptoms, to, you know, I had like a hard, heavy cold for a couple of days and I'm getting better. And some have said I've had fever and I just feel lousy. So it's hard to know what variant each person has. Depends on how they travel, where they travel, those kinds of things. So, anyway, that's all my remarks. I don't see her. Oh,
There you go.
Oh, you're behind the podium. Looks like I see Ms. Menzel. Yes, it is.
So, unfortunately, our fearless leader, Ms. Lomax, is positive COVID case of one of our teachers in the district, so it swung to me. My name is Valerie Hanna. I am the SEA Elementary Board member, and I am a first grade teacher at Elmdale Elementary. First, we wanted to say thank you from our certified and classified staff for the bonus that we got in December. Yeah, it was a collective woohoo across every school, I'm sure. And especially, you know, my personal feeling is for the classified staff too, just to be shown how important they are to us. Because, you know, for as hard as I know all the teachers are working, I can't live a day without my IA in my classroom. So I am really thankful for them and the support that you guys have given all of us. Ms. Mansell just passed out a little gift from us, obviously not as cool as some of the other stuff you got, but maybe a little pick-me-up for those days that you guys need to just keep on going too. Because we do really understand that this is, you know, you aren't paid to be here either. You're doing this out of the goodness of your hearts, the love that you have for our school district, and we do appreciate that, and we do see that. So for SEA is also, we have continued to be supporting our teachers with getting masks to them when needed. At Christmas, right before break, we were able to support 4 families who just had some extra needs at Christmas, giving them things that they might need for their family and just have, you know, a better Christmas. And there were a couple other families with just a few little extras that they needed. And just, again, you know, we truly, truly appreciate how difficult this year has been. You know, you guys unfortunately probably get to hear a lot of our complaints instead of our compliments more often than not. And I hope you sincerely, you know, I sincerely hope that you understand that we are grateful for what you guys do for us and what you make sure happens for our district, and that you are getting us those substitutes when we need them as best we can, and we do appreciate it. So, do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Woods, Mr. Griffith had emailed in first, so that's why he's, so,
Okay. I probably won't be near as nice as the last lady was, to be honest. This is my second trip here. I think you guys probably remember me from last time. I know 5 minutes. I have not been overly impressed. But just to clear up some facts last time, I said I had sent a stack of papers over for my special needs child that covered 27 pages. I was wrong. It's 43 pages that I gave to the school district before my child ever started school. She lasted in the school district 3 weeks before we had to take her out. Now, there's a lot of reasons why things fail, and I don't want to get into what I think, but in our last meeting, I got the impression that either you guys and the school board, and understand you guys are the school board, not the school system, either are unaware of the population of the special need kids in the district, or it's not important to you. But understand there is about 14% of students in the state of Arkansas that qualifies for special education. 14%. And I can almost guarantee you the budget in the Springdale school system is not anywhere near 14% for special education. Now, my child is not bad. According to her therapist, her biggest problem is I spoil her too much. That's a given. She has some reading difficulties and some physical difficulties. But when we sent her to school, we had about a 3-hour conference, 2-hour conference prior to this coming on. Now, under the 504 program, if you're not familiar with it, or the IEP, which I never got an IEP from this school district, the school's required to take care of this child. Whether we want to or not, the school district is required, and it was not. The child ran down the hallway and ran out the back door once. Gym teacher had to chase her down, which, understand that, I don't hold that against the schools. I've done that more than once at my house, okay? But she wasn't given the attention she needed. She was not evaluated by this school district before she ever started. Now, that's an issue. They had 43 pages that tells her everything, told the school district every problem she had. 43 pages. The school district did not look at it. After 2 weeks, when I informed the school that I was going to withdraw her, they said, well, we need to evaluate her. They had almost 3 months before school started to evaluate her from where she was going now, or where she is going now. We put her back in there. So my question would be, is the school district not in tune to what the special needs kids are? 14% of the population is a lot of the population. Now, a lot of those 14% is not severe enough that you would even notice unless you're around them all day long. You would never know my child is special needs unless you're around her all day. But 14% of the population for someone just to be ignored is not real good. And I think the school district ignored my child last time. Now, I had a meeting with the school, and I understand I do not hold the principal or the teacher responsible for that. I hold the system. We had a meeting before we withdraw, and they assured me next year they'll be ready. But my question is, how many special needs kids, children, are in the school district fighting every day that has not been taken care of, have not been evaluated by the school district? And the parents are either afraid to come forward, or they just don't know how. Now, I'm not afraid to come forward. I've been around too many years. Like I said last time, I played violin right there. So, we need to do something. Now, this will not be the last time I have a school board meeting, all right? But I can assure you, this is the last time I will bring this problem up, okay? A note has nothing to do with this. You guys do a good job for the most part. I think you all should keep the old Central Junior High, or the old high school gym. That thing's a relic. I played ball in there. We need to keep that somewhere. We don't need to destroy it. But that's all I have. Our special need kids are not being taken care of at all. Also, since I got 22 seconds, since I've been in the school district, I had a teacher tell my child that the detainment camps in California during World War II was the exact same thing as the Nazi concentration camps. I also had a teacher tell a 6th grader that if we did not, the parents didn't vote for the funding, this is 2008, that we didn't care about their education. So we might want to look at that down the road.
Hello, school board. My name's Jimmy Woods, and first I'd like to say thanks. Appreciate what y'all do, and I think we have the best school board in Northwest Arkansas. I wasn't actually going to attend tonight, but ironically, the school nurse called my wife and said, "Hey, one of your boys came in contact, and he's got a quarantine." And I'm working like, "Okay, yeah, all right, whatever, right? We'll do whatever the rules are." And so, I don't know, about an hour later, and I got to thinking, I was like, "Wait a second." So I called her back and I said, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. So basically, long story short, she told me that he had to wait he's not vaccinated, so he had to quarantine for 5 days, and then if he wanted to come back, he could wear a mask. But so then I was like, well, that doesn't really make any sense, because if he was vaccinated, he could just come back. So I'm like, well, let me call, maybe you misunderstood. So I called the school, and I get it from the vice principal, and she did confirm that, hey, if he was vaccinated, he could come back. But since he's not, and not have to do that, he's got to follow these other requirements. And so then I'm thinking, like, wait a second, then I start getting mad. I'm like, this is jacked up, you know? So, or then I find out, so then I called up here, and I was actually talking to, I can't remember her name, but it was I think it was the head nurse over the whole area, and she confirmed the same thing. And the reason why I'm here is, first of all, I was just concerned that my child's getting treated different based on a vaccination status, or in my opinion, it's a primary definition of discrimination. So, I can't remember who came up here and talked about the budget. So now he's going to get left behind in education, so now you got to hire more people to get him caught back up, because my wife's not a teacher, I'm not a teacher. He's going to sit and do probably not much, because at the same time that the last couple years. So my question for you guys is, how many others are going to be like this? Now, so let's say he goes back and he comes in close contact with another person. Is he out another 10 days? Because he's going to come in contact again. Then he takes another 10 days off, and he comes back to school and somebody else has it. So now he's out 10 more days. When the slide earlier, it didn't say anything about vaccination status on it, on the quarantine rules. And so I just want to express my concerns and making sure, and I'm going to follow up again with some other people, and I want to talk to a guy in Little Rock. But I just want to make sure my child's not getting discriminated against based on his vaccination status, because I'm pretty sure that's against the law. And if other kids are getting special treatment because of their vaccination status, you guys should really look into that. If they can come back and not have to do anything after 5 days, or if they come in close contact, now they don't have to quarantine because they're vaccinated, that's a big, big concern to me. And I think a lot of other people would have a lot of concerns with that as well if they knew that was going on. I don't know why the vaccination deal wasn't on that slide, but again, I'll follow up with the proper people, but I'm hoping I'm wrong on that. But then again, if I'm not, how are y'all going to address close contact coming back again, close contact coming back again for everybody that's not vaccinated? And that's all I have.
Thank you. I think that's it. We are now going to go into executive session to discuss personnel. to now adjourn. Is that all I need to say? The meeting is now adjourned. And thank everyone. Stay safe, healthy.
Watch football.